it's actually a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot better on a later read.
That's true.
I'll be honest. I got the Absolute and I sat down and I read it and I was like, well, it wasn't as bad as I remember.
I got into like
you bought an Absolute edition of a book you didn't like.
Well, the problem.
But last year I got into an argument with a friend over it, and I was like, no, this is a really good book, and I'm willing to transcribe an 8,000-word Frank Miller interview and write another 8,000 words on the book to show you why. Basically, I got my feelings hurt because someone else didn't agree with my opinion.
So it's not
It's more of a personal issue.
Yeah, really, it shows very insecurity. But there was a question here, Esther?
Because you do this day in, day out, you read pretty much everything that's out there, do you feel like your opinion is skewed that way? Not, this is my job. Do the unusual things, good or bad, do you think stand out more to you? Is it just
I
like
don't read
anything
everything
better
that's
than
out.
just another okay comic? Whereas someone who like reads 3 or 4 a month.
And a really weird thing, the healthiest thing I've done for that was actually stopping reading the comics internet for the most part for a while. When I was really doing I9 and that was the focus, I did not read that much comics blogging, and more than stopping reading comics, stopping reading people writing their comics made me write comics more. Really.
That's interesting. I think there are things that you stop noticing, like my boyfriend doesn't read comics like at all.
Typing into these comments at 3 in the morning. There's never been a moment where you can stop.
Online at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, no, because I'm sleeping, or because I'm, like the thing is that like you can't, and maybe because my family's been around for 10 years, so we've been, oddly enough, like been up through the ringer with it. I'm just like, I got bad things to do.
Yeah.
Like parents say, you can't win, so just don't worry about it.
And in a real life thing, I'm married. I have had other jobs. I have other things to do. I don't have the ability to be online at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, someone is going to quite rightfully say, why don't you eat? Why don't you sleep? Why don't you do something that is not answering comments to your comment? Because you've met none of them. These people are not real. They don't really think you're real. So what is the point of being in this fight?
And especially with Twitter and just the internet in general, I mean, like I'm fascinated because I keep somewhat odd hours. I mean, I go to bed like around 12 or 1. I get up about 5:30. And the stream never ends. It's just, Australia goes right into UK, goes right into the US and back again. Like it just,
That's something I only really became aware of at I9. Because I9 was a bigger site and people would get really upset if something happened in Britain while we were all asleep. Yeah. And they're like, why don't you have this on your site? And it's like, I was asleep. I'm really asleep. They would be angry. They would think, what were you doing that you did not psychically know and get up and blog about it?
There should be alarms on your phone, Graham. Just go off.
There's a reason to put my phone off.
You're not alone. I've gotten to that point, and I think it is a learning curve. But I think it matters. Like if it's something that really matters to me, I've written something that I think is really important. You're engaged in that dialogue. I guess for me it depends. Like if I'm having a discussion, a real discussion with somebody, where I think we could both, we're actually listening to each other rather than just yelling our points at each other, then I think it's worth engaging. But when you get to a point where you realize like this isn't going to stop, this is just going to keep going.
Snaking its own tail.
Yeah, you got to let it walk away.
Well, there's some users on our site. We know they're regulars and we know them very well, and we know their patterns and we know how they can behave. And creators come to our site, and creators and publishers and stuff like that have interacted with them. And there's some people who have to say, I have to contact them privately, the creators, like, listen, just stop. You're not gonna and some of them are like, no, it's all right, I'm having fun. But then like 2 days later, like, oh my God, you were so right. Stop, so it's just a balance. Sometimes it's positive. And I don't want to come off saying, don't interact with the users, don't interact with the comments, because some great conversations can come of it.
Just use judgment.
Yeah, exactly.
More questions?
This is sort of a two-pronged question about manga than about other comics in general, but I'm wondering what you think the state of gay comics is in. Gay manga, for instance, and gay characters in regular general comics.
Well, that's a great question. I think there's a misperception that yaoi manga is gay manga, and it really isn't. It is erotic comics written by women for women, and the fact that the two principal characters in most yaoi manga are men who are attracted to each other really has very little to do with homosexuality. And in fact, there are yaoi users who are readers who are very homophobic and would be really not happy about that. At the same time, I think there is a community of gay men who have read it. There is a whole separate genre of manga, bara, which is gay men's comics, which is a much smaller segment of the manga industry. And there isn't, to my knowledge, and maybe Deb, you could jump in here and tell me whether or not I'm barking up the wrong tree, but to my knowledge, there really isn't anything like that translated into English.
Not much.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the whole subgenre of bear manga.
Right.
Where, you know, the men, if you put them side by side, the men who are in the yaoi manga are very feminine and sweet and pretty.
Right.
You see the gay ones, and they are buff and they're hairy.
Right. Yeah, the buff and hairy doesn't sell so well to the girls, so there isn't a lot of it. There isn't a lot of it. There are characters who are homosexual. You certainly come across that. There's, you know, or there's series where there's a lot of homoeroticism, but it's not really a theme that's being intelligently explored in a lot of the manga that's being licensed for the American market. Yeah, that's true. That's a great point. Yes, the Motohaju, the lesbian.